we have the Global Chief Data Officer of Club Med. I don't know if he's there. Yeah. Yeah. No. Try another one.
This one?
Yeah, this one is
Perfect.
working. Good. Thanks for having you.
Thank you for having me.
So this is going to be, again, very interesting here. We're going to talk about practical usage of AI in the field of hospitality, right? So maybe if you can spend just a couple of minutes to introduce yourself, your background, and your company, that's great.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Siddhartha, and I'm the Chief Data Officer of Club Med. And Club Med is a global upscale hospitality brand, and our ambition is to become the most desirable holiday lifestyle brand in the world.
Okay. Good. So let's take a seat. So let's go right into it, right? What's interesting here is to look at AI from a pragmatic and a practical standpoint, and to look at how a company like Club Med is actually using AI, and to highlight a couple of use cases. So, you know, everyone talks about AI. Let's try to understand here what it means for a company like Club Med. So maybe you could give us a couple of examples, use a couple of situation inside your company, and tell us how you leverage AI.
Yeah, sure. So there's the classical AI, and we've been using, I just realized before the AI generative buzz that we've been using LLM even before the buzz started. For example, last year we used LLMs to analyze our call center conversations, and that allowed us to get a lot of insights about the pain points of customers, etc. Right, so that's one of the use cases. Other than that, there are multiple use cases in the field of customer service, right? So we receive more than 1 million calls a year.
1 million calls?
More than 1 million calls.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And maybe a few billion emails that we send, and then there's, to and forth. There is also, in terms of customer experience, how can we create content to personalize the experience for our customers at scale? And that's where AI generative is extremely interesting. And the third topic for me, and in all companies, industries, I think there's a lot of value, is in the field of employee satisfaction or employee experience, right? So how can we use LLMs to onboard employees, train employees by helping them to find documents, formations, trainings, etc., very easily. Right, so a few of the examples.
Okay, so that's interesting. If we go back to the 1 million call, right? So obviously the idea here is to start leveraging Gen AI / LLM, and to start really having what I would call effective chatbots, right? Versus what maybe we've seen in the past, and the idea here is to start using the technology to start addressing a lot of those calls, a lot of those emails, right? So this is what you are, going after here.
That's one of the key areas that we are looking at, and you're absolutely right. I mean, there are a lot of calls, and the main objective of our travel experience designers is to help our customers prepare the perfect vacations, right? So for the first time, and as you rightly said, in the past we have seen a lot of chatbots which have failed because they were extremely complicated to construct, right? And they were working on sort of dictionaries of question versus responses. So for the first time, we can see a real promise of creating good quality chatbots to handle some of these calls, which are kind of repetitive, through different channels. It could be calls, but it could also be messaging. Yes.
And then the idea is you can therefore redeploy all the resources to really focus on the customer and build this unique experience, right? So
yeah.
So this is a typical example of how, thanks to the latest development in technology, thanks to the latest LLM, we are really hoping to start solving a problem that has been around forever, right? Too many emails, too many calls,
Correct.
and lots of people doing
Correct.
repetitive work here, trying to answer all of that, right?
Yeah, and if you look from the customer point of view, since the digital revolution started about 10 years back, the customer is always asking for almost the same thing. I want self-care, I want autonomy, I want information at my fingertips, right? So, for example, after reservation, at one of our resorts, there are so many questions, that they have. Is there a paddle? Is there, are there places in the mini club, etc. So these are pure informational aspects, right, where a human does not have so much value to add. It's there somewhere. So we need to structure that information and then, help create that level of self-care and personalization, right, for the customer. And this is where I see a huge value of generative AI is to do personalization at scale.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting because whether it is front-ending the company to be able to help the customer better or helping inside the company for new employee onboarding, for example, and make their experience better, you are starting to inject AI capability inside the system, right? So this is quite interesting. Okay, so let's switch here because we talk about technology, we talk about innovation, we talk about all those new cool, shiny object, but let's focus a little bit on people. Because what's interesting here is to understand what it means for the people. So if we focus on people, according to you, what does that mean for employee at Club Med, starting to use AI?
Yeah.
What's going to change for them, and also what's going to change for the customers?
Yeah, this is a great question. And there is a difference between the perception and the reality, right? So we are still trying to understand the perception. I think all over the world we are trying to understand what's the perception around AI. And in terms of reality, I like to take the example of Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, who says that this new AI today is a co-pilot. It's an assistant to the human being. How can the human do more in less time? How can he be more efficient? How can he do, value-added task versus repetitive task, right? So today, our view is that it's a co-pilot and it's an assistant. And how can we build tools and assistants for our employees, through the AI generative?
So removing the load on the employee by having an assistant, personal assistant, co-pilot, which basically will make this a good news for them, right? Because sometimes people tend to have a bit of a negative view on what AI could mean, right? Talk about what it means for the customer, right? What it is that we can unlock and unleash in terms of personalization, mass customization for the customer. This is a very exciting topic for the clients.
So in terms of mass customization, we are a global company. We are present in 40 countries, and we have customers coming from more than 100 countries. It's quite hard, to create content at scale, whether it's emailing, whether it's media, etc. And then nuancing that content with cultural differences, right? So the idea is still the same since the beginning of digital revolution. How can we create a seamless customer journey, right? And for the first time now, we can probably, with this technology, create more high-quality messaging and high-quality information at a much faster pace, and then activate it on different channels. At Club Med, we are a completely omni-channel company, so we have more than 11 points of contact, and between the first point of contact till the transaction, there is on average 100 days, right? So it's so booking a vacation is not a commodity transaction, right? It's an engagement. You're going there with your whole family. So there's many things that the customer wants to know and wants to have, right? So that's where I think with this technology we can achieve faster scale.
And you can customize the experience to the client based on his culture, based on his geographies, and during those 100 days and those 11 touch points, you can really provide the right level of information for what the customer really wants, right? Thanks to AI.
Correct. And then using that assistant and co-pilot technology maybe help the travel experience designer go faster in designing a very high quality travel plan or a travel schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is again practical examples of the benefit of AI for the end client, at the same time impacting positively the employee inside, okay? Yeah. So Club Med is basically, has been a pioneer in that space, right? In the hospitality field. Yeah. What will be interesting for people to know is, according to you, what are the key areas of focus to make sure that you best leverage AI? Basically, how is Club Med doing it? Give us some key points here that are critical.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of buzz around this technology, and I think there is also a misconception that this, even though I speak about scale and going faster, it doesn't mean that it's easier, right? So I think in the AI race, I think the companies with high-quality data sets, high-quality centralized information are actually going to win, because the AI is nothing without good data. Otherwise, what you have is garbage in, garbage out, right? So we need to have very high-quality data. And as we are an omni-channel company and we have maximum distribution direct, 70% of our sales happen on our own channels, whether it is website, whether it is call centers, et cetera. So we have this high-quality data, and we try to put in place a governance, to ensuring that we have good data sets, right? So I would insist to the audience that the basics are not out. They have become even more important. Quality of data, governance of data, right? Because that data is going to be the base for high-quality AIG applications.
Yeah. So this is very, very important. So if people believe that thanks to AI, we can forget the basics and the foundation, that's not the case, right? We all understand that in order to have good AI, you need to have good data, right? Yeah. So you still need to sort out your data, consolidate your data, clean your data, manage your data, govern your data, right? So luckily at Club Med, you have this foundation in place, therefore you can build on top of it and leverage all the AI capabilities, yeah, right?
We have it in place, and we are trying, we always have a humble mindset, so always improving continuously.
Of course.
I wouldn't say everything is perfect, but we are working at it. And the second aspect is also the culture building, and hand-holding people. Just because there is a new technology doesn't mean that everyone is using it. Maybe I'll ask a question to the audience. How many of you have already used ChatGPT? If you could raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Okay.
It's good. That's 60%.
Great. How many of you are using ChatGPT every day?
30%.
And how many of you have used ChatGPT only once? So we have some.
2%.
Right? Yeah, which is normal. I myself don't use so many interesting tools, apps, etc., which are out there, right? So we have to explain the benefits of this technology to our collaborators, and then also create the culture about what the usage are. And for that, what we are applying is a bottom-up strategy. We are asking our colleagues to list pain points. What are the aspects which they want to optimize, they want to improve, etc., right? And then by explaining to them what the functionalities of AI generative are, they themselves are proposing us use cases. So that allows you not to impose the technology, but to build it in a co-constructive manner with your colleagues.
So this is, again, in interest of time, but this is very exciting because you bottom up, engage the people, you gain the traction, you fix pain points that are relevant to them on the floor, and that's how you basically create the momentum, right? And that's how you basically create all the acceptance. So
and that's the role of any technology for the last 100 years. Whichever technology has come has a role to address the pain points, and help you to go further and faster, right? I don't think there's anything different with this technology, but we need to have a positive mindset around it.
Yeah, very interesting. So again, data is king, and engaging people with your bottom-up approach, creating a pipeline of use cases that matters to them. Very interesting. Last question here. Let's talk about ethics and governance. Okay, so the way you are deploying AI here, it's really critical for people to understand the framework that you are using, because the idea here is to keep control over the AI, right? So could you describe how you do that at Club Med?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had the GDPR regulation in Europe, right? And that taught us a lot of things about privacy. And GDPR is quite clear in terms of its usage. AI is a more nuanced topic, and in my opinion, this cannot be completely regulated. There is a philosophical aspect to it. So what we need to do is have ethical principles. And this is what we are doing at Club Med, is that we are trying to work with our experts and create certain principles around AI, about the usage of AI, and then being very rigorous in the respecting of these principles before building any kind of an application. And certain principles are simple, like, are we protecting the customer data, right, or employee data?
Privacy.
Privacy. Are we transparent about the way our algorithms are working? Can we explain in easy words how these algorithms work, right? So these are some of the principles. Are we always keeping the human at the center when we are thinking of building these applications? So these are certain principles. There aren't a lot. There are a lot of frameworks. I can share with the audience certain examples. And then at every stage of the life cycle development of this technology, try to follow those principles. And I think that way we will keep a control. We got to also prepare to handle the mistakes, in terms of the technology itself. We've seen how, ChatGPT can hallucinate.
It's a young technology. It's like a young kid. It's probably going to do mistake. You got to act as a good dad, right?
Correct. So you need to have a very good agile approach when you're building this, to have a good design thinking based on pain points, and then anticipate what can go wrong, and then have the right strategies to fix those problems, right? If it is hallucinating, then you need to have, right prompt engineering to make sure that, you are controlling those kind of, and doing what you call as, controlling the borders of that LLM, so that he's not going beyond the role that we have asked it to perform.
Very interesting. So as a closing comment here, clearly Club Med is leveraging AI and working on use cases that are both benefiting employees and customers, right? Maybe a last quick question here. How do you see this, in terms of investment? Do you consider that top-down? Do you consider that this is, something that is extremely strategic and critical? Maybe just 1 minute talking about that. People need to understand how seriously you are taking it.
Absolutely. So this topic is, you rightly said, it's a top-down approach and it's a bottom-up approach, right? So bottom-up, you can actually, work with the employees to find applications around this technology. But bottom-up, top-down is super important, because you need the sponsorship of the executive committee, also the CEO, to recognize the power of this technology, the limitations and the advantages, and then act like a sponsor to adopt and be an early adopter and a pioneer, which is our mindset. We are pioneer. We invented the all-inclusive vacation concept. We are in market for more than 70 years now. So even when it came to digital revolution, our management, they created a department which sort of broke all the silos between IT, digital, call centers, etc., to create an agile organization. And this is how we also look at AI, and we're taking it seriously. But we want to have a responsible approach, a strategic approach, and a pragmatic approach.
So it's great to have leaders like you, top-down, sponsoring those technology. Thanks a lot for being here today.
Thank you, Olivier. It's my pleasure. And I would just say a last thing. A few years back, I was working at Publicis, and I saw my colleagues building this exceptional event called Viva Tech from scratch. So it's a great honor to be here and talking to you and talking to our audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.